I have a default query set to Chromebooks. So when I click on Chromebooks and assets, it shows me all my Chromebooks first. I'll show you in a moment that you can see other assets, and you could set that as your default query. So again, if somebody was working on, maybe they're a media specialist and they're working on chasing down Chromebooks which haven't been returned, then the default query they may want to have is Chromebooks which have beyond their return date. And so that would be a good query for them. And just to drill into these queries, so these are the queries we have out of the box. So we could see all assets which are out for repair, Chromebooks which are running an old version of the operating system. So this is a nice sort of a feature here. So it's easy to see all Chromebooks which are running an outdated version of Chrome OS. Chromebooks with no insurance. So Jeff mentioned before how we can sort of track whether insurance has been purchased or not. There's another cool one here I noticed, so funding sources, so emergency funding, and being able to see all devices which were purchased with that funding source. And Chromebooks where their support is coming up to sort of end of life, so in the next 6 months, and using the AUE date here to identify those. So you don't want to be tripped up with state testing, using Chromebooks which are sort of not running a supported version of the operating system. So being easily able to identify those Chromebooks. So lots of queries out of the box, but it's easy to create your own what we call an ad hoc query as well. So if somebody was to maybe walk up to you and say, right, I want to see all of the Chromebooks which are with students which have been withdrawn. So they've left the district, but they still have a Chromebook allocated to them. So how could you do that with Envisor? So it's pretty simple in just a few clicks. So firstly, we can specify the device type we're looking for. So we'll say type, and we'll say Chromebook. So, and then we specify the assignee type we're looking for. So we'll say students. And then we're going to say that we want students which have been withdrawn, so inactive students. And you'll see there's different student information here. So if it was grade level we're looking for, whether they had insurance or not, the number of repairs. So, but in this case, we want to know those which have withdrawn. So there's inactive students. So all Chromebooks with students which have been withdrawn, which are inactive.
And we can create our own, right? We can rename those. It's important to note that if a district has a different way of referring to, so withdrawn or inactive, you can certainly use your own terminology there, and that's part of the implementation process as well.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly. So, so I've got that list of Chromebooks which are with withdrawn students here, and what I can do is save that query. So I can save it so I can use it myself or share it with the rest of my team, and then it will appear within that list. So we can say Chromebooks with inactive students,
or withdrawn,
or withdrawn,
right?
And there we go, and then that's there for, and I can use that then whenever I want to, sort of within my list, and it's available to me. So, and the other nice thing is you can then export that. So if you wanted to share that information, you can easily export that as an Excel or a CSV, so with other members of your team.